As they call it in the neighborhood. Okay, are we ready?
Yes. What are we making?
Kringla.
Kringla.
Norwegian's favorite pastry. I never knew if you qualified Kringla as pastry or cookies or kind of a combination of the two, I think. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a dessert. Right?
And of all the Norwegian things that people have tasted when they come to our house, some they don't like. Never heard anybody say they didn't like Kringla.
No one's ever turned their nose up at Kringla.
Because it's really, there's not a lot of flavor there, but there's something there that makes you want to take another one. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've already got a third of a cup of butter in here. I had to soften it a little bit because it was out of the fridge. So
nice
next, add a cup of sugar.
Cup of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And are these kind of roundabout cups? Are these nice level cups?
These are
heaping cups?
Totally level.
Okay.
If you need a knife or your fingers do just as good. This isn't one of these recipes that if you're not exact, it's going to fail. You know.
And a couple extra sugar grounds probably isn't going to hurt anybody.
No, I don't, or even less. Some that like to cut down the sugar. Or cut down.
A cup of sugar. That's intense. I
Well,
don't think I've ever put a cup of sugar in anything.
We put 3 cups of flour, so that, you know, flour to sugar is usually how.
And do I start mixing?
Yeah, mix that up good. And since this is, we don't sift the flour, I'm going to loosen this top a little bit. And you can do that just lifting with it, just lighten it up.
And is there any reason why you wouldn't sift it? I rarely do.
Lazy?
Just lazy, okay.
Yeah. I would.
So you can sift the flour.
I think
if you're not lazy.
I think I would, like on a cake or something where is really important on this now.
I did it a couple times when I was making bread. And
Sifted
then,
it?
Yeah. And I was thinking, oh, maybe this is why my bread's not rising right. Well, no, it was the temperature in the house. It was always so cold.
But it was good to test. And I usually, when the measuring cup is still dry from the sugar, and I know I'm going to use it for buttermilk, then I measure the flour before I go to the other ingredients.
Okay.
And that's just 3.
3?
And you don't even have to level because you end up adding as you need towards the end. No, here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Won't hurt a bit what went in there. But see, we're going to mix the baking powder with that really good. Yeah, you just dump 3. And quite often, I'll end up just using 2.5 cups of it. Just kind of depends on the weather even. I don't quite understand it, but okay. Then I'll take this out because I'll use that for buttermilk. So we'll get this out of the way. And the baking powder.
Don't ask me.
You know, Marla went to buy some soda one day, and she checked the date on it. It's 3 years old. She went right, she's not shy. She went right to Greg, or whatever, I think that's his name. Okay, oh, and I put, it's supposed to be 1 spoon to cup. But I round them up good because I think they raise it a little bit better now.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's good right there.
Like that? So 3 of those?
Yep.
Just a rounded.
And then that's why I put the paper here. Rather than sift, I just stir. Just make sure it gets spread around good. Okay. And while I'm mixing this with the flour, you can get the salt and put a level teaspoon of salt in.
Do you use, does it matter if it's coarse or?
I don't think it makes a lick of difference. At least I've never
I'll use that brand new kosher that I got.
Yeah, I noticed that. The only time I bought kosher is when I have pickles.
Ah.
What?
I think it just tastes a little bit better.
A little bit more.
And it's not, I don't think it's going through that whole iodized process.
So there's a help. But then they say too, if you don't use iodized salt, you might have to take some iodine for, is it for goiter?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Okay.
Now,
Or less.
that can go right in there.
Right in.
Just scatter it around and then stir it. And I'll get this mixed and then we'll start on the sour cream and the buttermilk. And Nina says she hardly ever has buttermilk on hand, and if you don't, and you just take a cup of regular milk and add 2 teaspoons of vinegar, stir it, and
Really?
let it sit there a little bit. And
it curdles a little bit?
It'll thicken and crabber, and she's had the same results, so.
Oh!
Oh, yeah. Why is a dog prefers always to lay right in the pathway?
So you have to stop and pet him on the way through, I think?
Oh, probably, because I noticed Nina's
Yeah,
dog the same
they
thing.
know your pathway.
Right oh, they can sniff pretty good.
No. Oh, man. I guess it went in. Hey,
Hey, what the?
You have a question, ask it. We're in between scenes.
I'm trying to breathe. Yeah, I did, but I lost it. Get alone.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Or at least for the next 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. It's going to be a long time if you got something important to say. Okay, that's mixed pretty
So
good.
I actually use Himalayan pink salt at home.
Nina bought some of that and
You grind it?
Grind it,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh, it tastes so good.
and I guess I didn't notice after I ate it if it made a difference or not, but she said in the long run it does. Okay, now.
I brought some home too.
Okay, maybe that's where I first saw it, because I told Nina I'd seen it. Now the sour cream, and that's usually you don't have to measure because it's in a 1 cup carton.
Oh, well, I got a.
Oh, well then that's okay. And then we'll do
I
the dog.
I got a big one because I wanted to. I got those packets of the French onion dip
Ooh.
and the chips and stuff too. So
All right.
some extra.
Well, I usually buy the double because I use it in other things besides Kringla. One of my favorite. Trying to get as close as I can to Mom's old chocolate cake recipe, and I think Molly said she has the original. She got a bunch of Mom's recipes, but the ones I've tried have. Of course, I maybe
Mom,
have.
you want some help with that?
I think I need some help with that.
8 times
We
around.
might be here by 4 o'clock in the afternoon and still not.
Oh, God.
Put the banjo fingers on it. There
30
you go.
trips around the sun by Grateful Dead, and 8 times around the sour cream by Colleen Rousey.
And then that, just level. There too, I don't think you go wrong if you mismeasure because it's one of those really flexible things.
Mom, do you have anything that's
You can speak loud, what?
Yeah, just talk normal.
Oh. Mom, do you have anything that's called a shark cleaner? Vacuum cleaner?
Well, what's that little one you bought? That little one that isn't
It's
working?
not called that. I'll go get it. I gotta get out of here.
No, we got background noises are
Hey, Leslie.
fascinating.
Close enough for jazz?
Yeah,
Hey,
very good.
You won't believe it. You never believe it. It's been clean in my room.
That would be good background.
It's good. It's totally gonna be. They're gonna hear all of that.
Does it carry that far into?
Yeah, that's a really good mic on
Wow.
there.
And then I left my cupboard doors wide open. That was cool. Was there a sight to
I had
behold?
like a whole garbage bag of.
Okay, now the same cup.
Okay.
And I was
This
just
is
gonna say,
set
always,
up for-
always shake it because it seems to. When they make the cultured, do you know what they do?
I have no idea.
See,
That took me by surprise when you said
Yeah.
a
No,
vinegar.
because we always had sour milk at home, you know. And then I've tried,
Is
leaving
this
to-
full too?
yeah, right to the top.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's good. I've tried leaving milk out. It doesn't sour like it used to. I suppose because of,
It's gone through so much
yeah,
processing.
because you used to get that thick curd on top, you know. And
Yeah. So is that?
oh, I forgot to tell you. That's okay. It's near enough the top. We'll sprinkle. Usually you add the soda to that, and then let it start to fizz. But we'll just add the soda right. It's pretty much on top, and just kind of don't stir it fully, but let it react with that for a little bit before we go on.
Okay. And how
One.
much of this?
1 level teaspoon of that. Okay, just
Like so?
kind of scattered around. And that'll be able to interact with it. We'll just sort of push it together and let it set a little bit to get that reaction. And you can see in the cup, boy, you watch it, because if the cup is full and you walk away, it's coming over the edge. And this is 3-year-old baking soda.
Scrape on your, just hold the spoon.
Perfect.
That's the main thing.
I had more when you were
You get
little.
that? That's the main thing.
The main thing, oh, yeah, when you were little and the other kids, oh, they'd want to get in there and stir and stir. And I'll never forget when you were really little and you wanted to help roll them. And I said, okay, but it's really important to not get too much flour in, because that makes them tough. So you just kind of pushed it over, you watched me, and I can still see your little fingers.
I remember
and
doing it.
You did it. I mean, they were tender as could be. So early on, that's
And I probably got 3 done in the time it took you to do the
well,
other
that didn't matter.
60.
Practice to learn, to do it the right way. Because I've seen some that go back. They don't want any sticky on their fingers. Not of the grandkids. I had a friend that wanted to learn one time. Over into the flour. Wow, they top you practically after.
Yeah, like pretzels.
Not for human consumption.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just wait and let that set for just a minute. Now, if these chill really good,
No, not all together.
we can probably
I did.
roll some out tonight. But we'll check the dough because it's so much easier if it gets really cold.
Really cold. Yeah.
But I don't make the mistake of putting it in the freezer, which I did one day.
Mm.
Then it gets that sticky. Oh,
Yeah.
nothing worse than, I told you one day, I think I tried and tried. It was a real hot, humid day. And I finally had to kind of push the dough together and pick it up and plop it on the cookie sheet. I was angry. And then maybe push it down so it almost turned out like a cookie. But they tasted okay.
Yeah.
But never again. If it's sticky like that,
Well, half the charm is in the texture. They're just so soft, and,
It
and
is.
if they get that perfect little crisp on the bottom and
Yep.
just start to get golden on the top, like
And the baking
That's
is
when you get
really
30 of
important to
them.
watch. If I'm not sure, like on the first one, I'll take a little spatula and lift the first one and go by the color there. Because I used to brown them under the broiling. They don't have to be brown. It's just, in the old oven, they did
Yeah.
brown, and I thought they had to be, but the taste is the same. And usually when you serve them, they're bottom, you
Yeah.
butter on the bottom, and that's what's up anyway.
It's so hard to control when
Okay.
you flip that broiler
That's
on
ready to
anyway.
stir.
Stir it up. All right.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. Stop by if you have 10 minutes.
And I like this, when you're done with that, this one is really good
Because
because
it's got the holes in
yeah, and I like to make sure that butter is completely mixed with everything else. Because sometimes it has a tendency when you put the cold stuff into, if there's a little chunk that
it.
isn't.
Clump, yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
And I sometimes when I rolled them out, feel a little bit there, and that's that very rich butter. You can tell it when it's baked.
All right.
Tastes is good, but doesn't look as good.
All right. All right.
And you can beat that good. Just
I just didn't want to splash anymore.
no, and I do. I'm probably the messiest baker in Wright County. When I get done baking, the whole kitchen is covered with something.
Grace loves it when I cook, and she also hates it when I cook.
Yeah, because
Because
you clean
it's
up.
there's flour everywhere. Hey, I'm making bread today, and everyone's like,
And I
oh.
almost always end up with a white streak here, or you
Yep.
either chase a fly away or have to scratch your nose. Man, I took that one thing out to the recycle. It's got a good start on the heat today. Big
Yeah.
time.
When we were walking Dakota, what was it, 9:30? It was hot already.
Oh yeah. And that
He kind of looked at me after a little bit. He's like, I want to go
Are
back.
you crazy?
Yeah, this is.
I'm going to change owner. Okay. You can just put the cup there. In the cup. Okay. Then we'll move this over closer, and I just take a good sized spoon. In fact, I like this one over here. This one that used to be over there. Just here, that's okay. Just a big. Here, that'll work.
Okay.
And I'd put like two 2 to start with, and just scatter it around. Okay, back to stirring. The name of the game. And you know, I tried, this is Mom's original recipe. And then in a few years it seems like more and more going to put eggs in them. That became the popular thing. And eventually...
Would that be just because the eggs will fluff it up so much easier? Or?
I don't know what the reason was, but to me, Mom, she tried that, evidently she liked it. But I tried it, and the kids, they're, to me, it makes sense they're going to be more moist if there's an eggs to expand. You know what I mean?
And was she replacing something with the eggs, or just adding eggs to it?
I think it made a difference in the amount of buttermilk, and I didn't do it long enough for me to remember. Not that I'm getting old.
Well, the little soda buttermilk reaction thing.
Yeah,
that
but
isn't
I
extra.
mean, I tried it the second time. I thought, well, maybe I didn't do it right, and everybody said, nope. So this is Mom's original recipe, and I hope I can find her chocolate cake original recipe, because twice a week. And Alice did the baking. I was how.
And then how do you get it, like silky?
Oh no, that's good enough.
Okay.
And then just a couple more, and I don't mean a couple. You just go by gradually adding it.
And you go until the dough feels the right.
Yeah, until it
texture.
looks right, and that's kind of just by guess and by golly. And sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm not. But I never had to throw any away because texture wasn't right. But too many times, I'm careful to watch as I roll and keep track on the oven. And many times when the last ones go in, I don't know if my brain turns off or what, but they get too dark. So, forewarning you.
So have a nice consistent oven.
And you know that old oven we got for $50 at a salvage place 100 years ago, it seems like. It's the only oven, well, since we got to town. And that's since '85, and it's been a good one.
It's held up.
Yeah, and it's taken a lot of torture and things cooking over and spattering.
A lot of spills.
Oh, a lot of spills.
A lot of bumps.
I've found too now when cleaning, it saves a lot of elbow grease if I turn it on, get it hot, and then just toss a little water in the bottom where the stuff is, and that just kind of loosens
Clean it just like a cast iron. That's how I clean my cast irons. I never do anything with it. I just put hot water in it, bring it back up to make it simmer.
The heat is a big...
Stuff just falls off.
Even with this tea kettle that you're adding vinegar to now, I've heard if you put vinegar in, and if you have a burner, you can put it on really low, and then just let it simmer and simmer. Between the heat and the vinegar, it works even better. So, alrighty, here we go.
And it's okay that it's a little lumpy?
Oh yeah, because you're still going to be stirring. And then the more flour you work in, the more it helps break up the lumps. In fact, Alice, my cousin and I were talking, and Betty said, I think towards the end, the more you fold it in, rather than stir, the more tender they are. And I said, I thought that just because, and Alice says, I just beat it with electric. So probably whatever you think is right. Sometimes you can think something.
Well, I've got one of those, it's like a whisk, but it's just a big wire.
The dough whip?
The dough whip. I love that thing. I use it
that was
so much. I've got it in the other room.
Okay.
Use it.
Well,
Not now.
we're into this
Yeah, it's
old style way we'll keep.
Things happening now.
Yeah. And towards the end I go less and less adding each time because that's when the texture of it is changing. But it's not close to that yet. And sometimes,
Yeah, it's still
and I
pretty
don't
goopy.
quite understand this, sometimes I'll end up with a strong half, almost 2/3 of flour left, and the texture's right. And another times it'll be almost gone.
That's interesting. What do you think would make it?
You tell me.
I mean, when I make bread, most of the time the recipe calls for a certain amount, but I never have to use as much flour.
No.
And if I do, it doesn't rise a lot. And
I think sometimes.
I have to work it with my hands
Yeah.
a whole lot more.
But I think sometimes in precaution for, I don't know this, but for people who wouldn't add enough and it would be a failure, they go on that side of a little more. That's just my crazy. I'm gonna add a little bit more this time too. Rhoda? Maybe we need a supervisor.
Good time to take him for a walk.
I think he'd been on a walk, have he?
If he'll go, it's just hot out there.
Yeah,
So
well, I know,
he won't want to go very far.
I just told him,
Well, nobody should go very
you
far.
wanna go, and he got up and he acted all excited, so. Maybe he's excited.
He just ate 3/4 pounds of ham and a
Oh, man.
and a
So,
cup of what? Cottage cheese.
talk about a dog's life. He's not got it. He's a privileged
He eats better than me, I know that.
Family member.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And that, yeah, you're doing right. That's where I start kind of folding it in. And I go with
This is crap.
1 spoon or less at the time.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay.
It's just,
Should we do the chip and dip and sandwich stuff at noon again today whenever anybody's hungry?
Yeah.
Okay. That works good because then towards the evening I was so hungry last night I thought I was going to eat the arm of the chair in there before you hollered and said it was late. That was fun though, to sit and not have to do anything. Quit your laughing at me, Tom. See, it's starting to just take a little bit heavy.
So I think I know already why my one and only attempt at doing this was not successful.
Hey, I think
It's just the process of doing it.
yeah.
So I did get a couple things messed up, but I didn't do it like this. I put it
bet I
all
made
in the
them-
bowl and
Oh,
just
yeah.
mix it all up
Well,
like
and that's
that
why
wood bread dough, and it
you
was.
dumped the buttermilk without realizing you're supposed to let it get in a little action before you do. But I think what we did,
This is starting to get nice and sticky
it's
now.
starting to show body. Well, I think I made them, I know, a dozen times, Ryan, before I would want anybody to come and taste them besides Gus. And you heard what he said. He loved potato cakes. We used to make a supper of that, potato cakes and warm molasses or sorghum. And so I felt so proud. I made him potato cakes, and he tried to cut it with a fork. And what do you call them? Neolite. You know what neolite is? The first non-leather shoe soles. Man-made shoe soles. Well, pretty good job on neolite, he says. It's starting to be ready. And I'd rather put them in with, I think it isn't maybe enough flour, because you can always add more as you
Yeah.
go. It's kind of hard to take the flour out once you've mixed it in. Almost impossible. Okay, I'm going to put just one more to kind of, just as the last thing. And then when you get that gently folded in, I'm going to find a smaller bowl because of the fullness of the fridge, shall we say. Okay. I think I told you this morning when you were leaning down to get the big yellow bowl. See, I had a yellow one just like that.
Oh,
It
I just got
broke.
I got the only big one that was down
This
there.
might be the original. There's still yellow there that has worn off down through the century. Okay, let's see. Not that one. Maybe this one. I'll see which one is the smallest. Yeah, the camera isn't from this side so they can see what
Yeah, you're not mooning the camera. Don't
where
worry.
I'm hunting for.
I got you blocked.
I think this one's a little bit smaller. I might need every half inch. Wait, I want to wipe out that
Oh yeah, that looks like it might be a
one. A little bit.
little extra texture,
Oh yeah,
little crunch for the Kringla.
a little bit topping. And at Christmas time, it's fun to get the colored sugar, and before you bake them, just go around and sprinkle either on the bowl part or where you flip over. But it just adds a little festivity.
I didn't know you did that before you baked.
Yeah, because then the sugar
Then it
drips.
melts into it. Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you pick them up and it kind of falls over. Good job. We'll see. If they turn out rotten later, I'll say, Ryan, you just didn't mix it.
My fault.
Go
It's
home.
okay.
Go to your room. I like this one better because it doesn't, yeah, it's out of that good. And that's such a heavy bowl, I'll hold it and let you scrape out because sometimes, at least lately, I have trouble holding it in.
I'll try, because I'm gonna have to do this at some point.
Yeah.
Eureka can't hold the bowl yet.
Boy, she's going to help. You. Well, she did help that one day when a couple of Terrence or Nina's grandkids were here too. And once went to help, they all went to help.
Yep.
And that can get tricky.
Which is both a blessing and a curse.
I know. How can you say no?
Whenever Eureka has a sleepover, we always make the kids make their own dinner.
That's good.
So it'll be like pizza night or taco night or whatever.
Well, sure, one of
And
those simpler.
something pretty easy, but
Yeah.
one time we had them make the dough. They had to make the pizza dough
That's good.
and everything.
I still think what they learn,
They weren't great, but
At a young
they
age.
loved them.
they'll keep that interest. And boy, how that makes a difference as they get older. If you got help, say if a mom's been gone for supper and she can turn it over and say, just fix this and be careful. Okay, then I usually take just a little bit of, I don't know why, but to kind of protect the topping, just barely coat the topping before I put it in the fridge.
Ah,
Because
just a little bit of the, and that's still just the same flour and
oh yeah, so
baking
that
powder.
we've been adding. But and if you leave this, one time I was going to bake it in the morning, I got company, blah blah blah, didn't make it, and then this will turn a little gray looking. It doesn't affect the taste, it doesn't
interesting.
affect at all, but I'll warn you for that. You might think, oh, it's spoiled, I'm going to dump it out. Not the case. It's the reaction of air to the dough, I guess, and it just turns an icky gray.
So before you cover that,
Oh,
I want to show what this looks like.
oh,
So just for the texture of it, it's still pretty soft. I mean, you could
because it's so room temperature.
Yeah.
You wouldn't,
But that's why we're going to chill it, and it's going to get nice and firm.
and it's amazing
So
how,
it's not bread dough.
in case you were thinking it was bread dough. Well, let's see, I should have tore this off before this stuff can be nasty. This stuff can make you speak words that are beyond belief.
Well, the fans are always on around here, so anytime I've grabbed it, I'll rip
Ooh.
a piece off. I'm like, oh, wait, this one actually rips really good. And then it flips
Oh,
over
but-
and is in my face.
And once it grabs itself, forget it. I've sometimes tried to untangle it, and you work and you work, and you're
Yep.
much smarter to. Okay, now I will,
Okay, in the fridge we go.
yep, after I make room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to rearrange.
And we're going to let it chill how long? Overnight is best,
Best
but
is overnight, because then it gets right, there's kind of thickness there. But I have, and sometimes when I wanted to use it earlier, I'll spread the dough clear up, as much as you can up the side so that the chill will get to it.
ah, yeah.
Tricks of the trade.